everybody, and welcome to Call of Duty Black Ops 3 from 2015. We are here on this game's iteration of the classic map Nuketown, and Nuketown in this is spelled with the number 3 instead of an E. And the blurb for this map, the little map description reads, "Change your reality with this new Coalescence simulation software." So, this map, this take on Nuketown, is this sci-fi virtual future. Seems to take place inside a computer program in a virtual world, which explains some of the very strange things we're seeing around here so far. But the structure of the map is no different than the classic Nuketown maps we've seen before. We have the Welcome to Nuketown sign here that, of course, by tradition tracks the number of players in the population area. We have sort of a digital billboard thing here, advertising Nuketown itself, I guess. Future is here. The future is here. And we have car here, very futuristic car, aux recharge. And past the barrier over here, we have a little park area with a city off in the distance. And in the past versions of this map, this has been a moving truck. Here it is some kind of, I don't know, it's some kind of vehicle. Coalescence. Enhance yourself for a better tomorrow. Fair touch. Scan your pass here. Local express info emergency. Alright, so I guess this is a bus. Oh, we have a reference to the previous versions of Nuketown. The classic, and then in Black Ops 2, of course, was Nuketown 2025. Here we have a vehicle that is full of mannequins. Oh yeah, Nuketown Transit here. The mannequins, of course, are a classic part of Nuketown's map. There's always mannequins hanging around. Hendrix, mailbox. those have read Woods and Mason, the two mailboxes. We have a fireplace here. Very fancy, modern fireplace. A tray of oranges. And the mannequins, it's worth noting, they have an Easter egg associated with them. Dinner selection. Vegan. Just a bunch of fruits and vegetables. Junk, which is a hot dog, or Mediterranean. Your three dinner options: vegan, junk, or Mediterranean. Here we have a schedule. Pick up kids. Monday, Tuesday, date at the taco truck. Wednesday, date at the mall. Thursday, pick up friends from the airport, go to Tijuana. Friday, take a bath. Schedule one bath a week. Should probably schedule it more often than that. Saturday, just chilling. Sunday, doing nothing at all. As I was saying before, the mannequins are associated with an Easter egg. And in this game, if you shoot their heads off very quickly at the start of a match, they all become zombies and start chasing you down and attacking you. So, the tradition of a mannequin Easter egg lives on in Black Ops 3. Speed Addict Machine. We have the backyard here. Some trees beyond the fence. Stones, pavement, pavers on in the grass. Kids zone, playhouse, little door, little slide, second floor, then a little roof up top. And a sandbox over here with some scattered toys in it. Yeah, we have the city over here. It's all dissolving into light, drifting up into the air. And then over here, wait, is it on the left or the right? I think it's on the right. Yeah, normally in these previous Nuketown maps, there would be a little hole right here, right about here, and there would be a place to drive an RCXD kill streak through. However, there is no such path in this design of Nuketown. No RCXD path. And to be honest, I'm not actually sure if there is an RCXD. Hey everybody. I realized that I was commentating artwork on the wall. Not sure what that means. Then over here we have a little desk. Some books or folders down there. Mannequin standing at the desk. Some little digital icons. I don't know what those mean. A keyboard over here. A traditional QWERTY keyboard. We have some kind of stock ticker here. Chemical halogen system. News feed. Middle East. Desertification. Climate change. And then on this wall, we have some art, and then these shelves here with a variety of books, contemporary architecture, classical architecture, photography, graphic design, nature photography. Those are a little too blurry to read. Classic Italian architecture, I think. Graphic design, volume 1 and 2. Over here we have some photos and a little tablet. It makes you wonder which Nuketown would you want to live in. I don't really like the design of this one, or the aesthetics, that I don't vibe with this one. I kind of like the classic Nuketown, to be honest. The retro aesthetics. Here we have some toys for this child's bedroom with a bunk bed. Another mannequin over here. Some books, some children's books. Wander the City, Volume 2. And Volume 1 there as well. Over here we have some more toys, a toy dump truck. Some mannequins from the earlier version of Nuketown, now remade as toys, little dolls here. And we can look out the window to see all of this stuff. I don't know, whatever this is. Data blocks dissolving into the sky. And a nice little art piece there of a friendly looking cat. So we can go downstairs and cross the street to check out the other house. The aesthetics of this map kind of key into the story of Black Ops 3, which is a very futuristic story that deals with the virtual world, that deals with simulations, simulated worlds. I will admit, I never played the Black Ops 3 storyline. I started it, and I think I did a couple missions, but it just didn't grab me, and I lost interest. when this game came out, I was much more interested in the zombies game mode. Home options, light, temperature, program, cookbook. The Black Ops games were making their side game mode in which zombies would attack you and you would fight through waves of zombies. And there were Easter eggs you could do to progress a storyline. And as the Black Ops games progressed, these storylines became more and more complicated, intricate, and developed. And to me, Black Ops 3 was the peak of this storyline. The Black Ops 3 story was very, very good. The zombies mode was very, very good. It was my favorite installment of zombies. Of course, guided by a whole team, but I think it was written, at least primarily, by Jason Blundell. And he did a great job. The zombie story was... It was very dramatic and in some ways a little bit maybe over serious considering what zombies was originally and the context. And the characters were perhaps just a touch over serious, but I also found it very charming. And I really liked the storyline. There was this crazy mashing together of worlds, different universes and timelines basically, and stuff got very crazy. But I thought it all landed quite well. And unfortunately, Black Ops 4, I did play through the zombies mode in Black Ops 4, but I felt that it just didn't have the same punch. It seemed to have, I don't know, I think they had their budgets cut or something because there was, weird issues, like the very last cutscene was not animated fully in the way that other cutscenes were. And it just, I don't know, felt like Black Ops 3 was sort of a more fitting conclusion. And then Black Ops 4 came along and just tried to extend the story a little bit when it probably shouldn't have been. Or at least they didn't do a very good job at extending the story. Also, these plants are freaking out. Why are they wiggling like this? And I liked the Black Ops 4 zombies well enough. I actually quite enjoyed playing it. I thought it was fun, and I liked the, what was it called? The Ethereum storyline, the Chaos storyline. The new characters they made, I thought the new characters were actually, in some ways, a little bit better of a story than the continuation of the Ether storyline. Also, sorry, I'm trying not to spoil stuff, so I'm staying kind of vague, but I don't know, maybe this is the kind of conversation that I should just spoil stuff, because I don't know if you weren't hyped up about zombies already, and if you hadn't played those Easter eggs already, I'm not sure. Many people are getting into it nowadays. We have a little sauna over here. Sauna. A sauna. But yeah, I'll give a light, sort of a general plot spoiler for Black Ops 3 Zombies. So, spoiler warning. But basically, you are going around finding alternate versions of each character. And I'll tell you in a bit, but right now we've switched maps here. We are now on the map Empire, and the description of this one reads, fan favorite raid, reimagined as an authentic Roman villa, recreated by a modern-day eccentric billionaire. So of course, Raid was a pretty popular Black Ops map set in a sort of a millionaire's mansion, I think in the Hollywood Hills. So this is an interesting remake of it, changing it into a Roman villa. And actually what I was thinking today for this batch of maps was I ended up having all of the DLC for this game because I wanted to play the zombies mode. I wanted to play all of these zombies maps. But I never really got into this game's multiplayer. And so as I was looking through the DLC maps, there were some pretty weird ones. And I was just inspired to do a few of them for our maps today. So I think Nuketown is the only default map that we're doing today, and we'll do some weird ones for the rest. But yeah, Black Ops 3 Zombies, you've got your cast of 4 characters, the 4 classic characters, but they've been reinvented. They're alternate versions from the map Origins, which is from Black Ops 2. And they have to go around and kill their alternate selves, their old versions that you played in Black Ops 1, and collect their souls. And the cutscenes were pretty good, and the writing was good, and the banter between the characters was good, so it was just fun. My friends and I were really, really into the zombies mode when this game came out, and we would try to get the new Easter eggs, do the new Easter eggs whenever they released a new map. I remember the final map revelations. We were all in college at the time, and so, nobody was really playing that much because we'd mostly left our, gaming behind. But we were home, all of us were home for Christmas break. Also, this seems to be a map of the Bosphorus and what's the other one? The Bosphorus this famous strait here. We have modern-day Turkey on the right, Anatolia, Asia Minor, whatever. The Hellespont, right? The Bosphorus and the Hellespont. I believe those are the names of those two little straits. Although I think they each have, there's different names for them, depending on the time period in history that you're talking about. Anyway, yeah, my friends and I were all home for Christmas, and it was like the last day of break. Most of us, I think, I was getting on a plane the next morning to go back to college. And I think the other guys were too. And we attempted the Revelations Easter egg and failed. And by the time we failed, it was like 1 a.m. in the morning. We were all like, oh, we should go to bed. And, we lost. Like, we're going to have to try again the next time that we're all home. But then we were like, no, let's do one more shot. And so we stayed up until like 3, 4 in the morning doing this Easter egg. And we beat it. And we were all very proud of ourselves. It was a big moment. The last possible moment that we could have done it, who knows when we would have had another chance. So it was a big victory for us. Over here, this is the sort of pool area from the original map. And we've got lots of mosaic art around, mosaic floors, very nicely made. Oh, this is a reference to that story of Zeus, turning into a swan and having sex with that woman. What is her name? Leda and the Swan. We've got some mosaics here, some fish, some warriors. Ahead there. Yeah, that story I think is kind of famous. I mean, it's sort of famous how Zeus would, turn into animals and come down to Earth and copulate with various people. The Greeks and their imaginations, right? Virtuti in gloria. Virtue and glory, maybe. I don't know Latin. Yeah, Zeus was always coming down, turning into a bull or something. Having his way with people that probably would have preferred that he not have their way with them. And also who probably would have preferred that if he was going to do that, he would not have turned into an animal at least. Pretty wild stuff. Don't let people tell you that that furries are a modern day invention, right? I mean, look at the ancient Egyptians, right? This is some cool artwork here, by the way. I really like these pieces on the wall. These various animal-based pieces. I like the eyes on this one. It looks like they were getting crazy, and then you open the door and, turn the light on, and both of them pyramids and stuff. Certainly seems like all throughout human history, people have been fascinated with both sort of being an animal and also having relations with an animal or a humanoid animal. Humans are a funny type of people. Here we have a gladiator standing victorious over a defeated opponent. And a nice little lawn area here. This is a really gorgeous estate. Is there a good, like, classic ancient Rome game where you could sort of walk around in environments like this? I'm thinking like, an Assassin's Creed type game, you know? Got some bust here, probably of some Roman emperor. I can't recognize them at sight, but maybe that's Augustus or Trajan or somebody. Obviously, Assassin's Creed did later Italy, like Renaissance Italy. And they have Odyssey, which is ancient Greece. I like this chariot. Mural on the wall here is chariot race. There was Rise, Son of Rome. I remember that one. That was a game that came out in 2013, I believe. I think that was a launch title for the Xbox One. But it would be cool to wander around a historical Roman setting. Wow, very neat little stacks of coins there. Roman history is pretty cool. There was that old meme from, I don't know, a year and a half ago or something, where girls would like ask their boyfriends, like, when was the last time you thought about the Roman Empire? And they would always, it'd be relatively recently. Here's my thing, though. I mean, people talk about the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire, there were some good times, right? But in my opinion, the Roman Republic, that's the one that everybody should think is cool. Once the empire came around, there were good emperors, but there were a lot of bad emperors. It did not take long after Augustus for things to start going downhill. You started to get, your Neros and your Caligulas and stuff pretty quickly. And even when they weren't totally crazy like that, just had a lot of instability. The Roman Republic was rocking along pretty solid for a long time. Sorry, that face is just making me laugh. Yeah, people should be admiring the Roman Republic, not the Roman Empire, in my opinion. if you're going to admire an ancient civilization. We have a very fancy car out here. Of course, if you have enough money to construct an entire Roman villa for yourself, I suppose you can afford a very nice supercar like this. Roma. Let's see, we have another one of those little cherubs over here. Yeah, see if I can think of any fun Roman history facts or something I can talk about. Well, you know what I'll say? I'll give you my pitch for why the Roman Republic fell, why it became an empire. Or, you know, how the Roman Republic was an empire, but did not have an emperor. But my thinking for why the Republic died, how it lost democracy, was, and this is not, I'm not a historian or anything, by the way, just to be clear. I'm not even super educated on history, but I've consumed a fair amount of Roman history in my life. And my feeling for why the Roman Republic died was, so basically Rome had this big war with Carthage, this place called Carthage. And Carthage was their nemesis, their big enemy. They were both up-and-comers on the world stage. They had both gotten pretty strong. I accidentally fired my gun there. That was a misclick. And they ended up going to war. And Rome won. Of course, in that battle, the Punic Wars, we have the famous story of Hannibal crossing the Alps with his war elephants, which is just an insane idea. Guys, ancient warfare was so crazy. Can you imagine standing on the battlefield and, like, across the plains, the enemy army shows up and they've got war elephants? That's just crazy. But anyway, then Scipio Africanus goes down to North Africa. Well, he wasn't Scipio Africanus yet, but he goes down to North Africa and he beats Carthage. And Rome comes out on top. They are now the undisputed kings of the Mediterranean in power. So they do some cleanup. They end up taking over Greece and Syria and all this. Yeah, they sort of consolidate their hold over the Mediterranean. And what they end up with, because of all this conquering, is one, a bunch of generals and politicians get very, very, very rich. The upper crust of society gets a lot of loot from these battles, and they get very rich. And at the same time, they bring in tons and tons and tons of slaves. Now, slavery was not new to the Roman Republic, but they brought in such a massive quantity of slaves from all of their conquests. That is an ugly portrayal of the Colosseum. That looks really bad, in my opinion. And the wealthy had gotten very, very, very wealthy. And so they started buying up land from common farmers. The Roman common person had for years been a farmer. And these farmers were what made up the legions. You had to own land, I think, to even serve in the legions. And what that did was, it basically made it so that Rome's armies were made up of people who had a reason to support Rome as a society, right? Because, as farmers, as landowners, they had a sort of a buy-in to the safety and stability of Rome. And suddenly, all of the rich people had bought out the land from under these guys. Oftentimes, these dudes had gone off to war, had been fighting, in North Africa and Greece and wherever. And then they come back and they find that their land has been taken over by the rich, and now the rich have put slaves there to work the land. So now the Roman farmer isn't even employed anymore. He doesn't own land, and he's unemployed. So you create a lot of desperate people who no longer have buy-in into the stability of their country. Also, we're going to move on from empire here. Here we are on the map, micro. What's better than a BBQ on a hot summer day? A miniaturized war zone that takes place on a well-stocked family picnic table. That's what. Anyway, I'll try to wrap up my spiel quickly. Basically, you ended up with this large group of unhappy, angry veterans, and the sort of swelling ranks of the Roman lower classes. And blah blah blah, you have all this stuff happen. You have the Gracchi brothers come in and try to put through some populist reforms, and they get basically murdered by the Senate. And then you have Marius comes in, and he passes these reforms for the army that starts to pay the army. You can now join the army without owning land, and you will get paid, a wage. And obviously you've gotten paid with like loot and stuff in the past, but what this created was a fly on the food. The upshot of all this is you now had a situation where Roman soldiers were no longer loyal to the Senate. They were no longer loyal to even really the concept of Rome as a nation. They were loyal to their general because they didn't have a farm back home. They didn't care if the country basically fell apart. That's an exaggeration, but where their bread was buttered was with their general. And so it's not long until you get these Roman soldiers that are completely loyal to their particular general, not just out of a sense of, soldiers' loyalty and respect and honor, but because that's the guy that pays your bills. And so when a certain little man named Julius Caesar arrives on the scene, he is able to create, fanatical loyalty among his soldiers. And, this was a problem before Caesar, Marius and Sulla and all these guys that were marching on Rome with an army every other week. Basically, you just ended up in a situation where the army was loyal to these very ambitious men, and one thing led to another. When you have ambitious men that don't care about democracy and just want to glorify themselves, and also just a bunch of other issues, like if they lose power, they're gonna get prosecuted by their enemies and stuff like that. You end up in a situation where people like Caesar are desperate to cling to power and to take more power, and B, have an army that is totally willing to fight other Romans to achieve Caesar's goals. And so when you're in a situation like that, it's not long before the Roman Republic falls, and you start the line of emperors. Also, that little text on the pizza box there was funny. Don't even try to recycle this box. So anyway, that's my opinion on why the Roman Republic fell. My silly little uneducated opinion. Go learn about it for yourself if you want to know more. I'm not the expert. Calories: 500 calories from fat, 500 uranium, 235 sugar, not sugar, protein. These are like beers. 7% of your daily uranium, 235. There's nothing good in they beverage. There's nothing good in they beverage. There's nothing, there's nothing in they beverage that's any good for you, so you might as well just not drink it. There's nothing in they beverage. A little error there. Classic Call of Duty multiplayer map writing, as we have found in our exploration of other maps. The best homebrew money can buy. YOLO, 15%. As we found in our previous map exploration videos, the writing on these maps can often be full of errors. Although so far this one seems a lot better than the usual. YOLO, you only live once. Remember that. Remember the YOLO era. Stone Mill Southern Shine, 100% pure corn moonshine. Pure corn moonshine. Selected, and bottled by Pigeon King Distillery Company. I like that name. Pigeon King Distillery. Pigeon King Distillery. We have a pyramid of hot dogs here. Pyramid of hot dogs. A coffee maker. This family picnic table is really exterminate any of these guys. Ants are nice. Ants are nice and friendly. Well, I don't know. I have been attacked by fire ants before. But, they're just trying to live their lives. Although they are an invasive species here, so, where I live, so, they should probably all die. Nothing against them personally, but, I am going to continue exterminating flies, however. Don't want them eating the barbecue food. A bottle of wine here. 6 Birds Winery was established. Carefully selected a higher blah blah blah. I can't really read the rest of that. The government warning. According to the Surgeon General, women should not drink alcoholic beverages. That's just the actual warning that you get on alcohol in America when you buy it. Did I just say women should not drink alcohol? It says pregnant women. I forget what I said. Well, women should probably not drink alcohol in the same way that probably everybody shouldn't drink alcohol. Also, I'm not a teetotaler, by the way. I do drink alcohol from time to time, but, for being honest, it's probably just always bad to do. But sometimes, sometimes you can do something that's bad for you. As long as you're not doing it too often. There's that same warning. Cider 2070. We're walking around on a couple of big kegs here. Cross over onto the other side. Another Fat City homebrew box. A roll of paper towels here. Bottle caps. Fat City homebrew. Nutrition facts. Same as before, uranium-235. Marinara dippings sauce. Marinara dippings sauce. Dippings, plural. Yeah, these maps. Black Ops 3. Oh, this one's on a donut. Oh, you know what? It occurs to me that perhaps me exploding a fly all over the donut is maybe grosser than just letting the fly eat a little bit of a sprinkle. Oh well. Oh well. These donuts don't look very good. They look like cake donuts. I'm not really a cake donut guy. Ooh, that's a bad looking crumb. Alright. 24 pack. 0 miles per hour cola. How would you say that? How are they reading that out in their advertisements? Is it MPH? MPH cola. Bubble orange soda. A naturally flavored soda. Certainly does have bubbles inside. Over here we have a slice of cake, a slice of chocolate cake, it looks like. super appealing. Some little cream cookie things there. Another soda bottle here. Try out Oomph soda today. It's the best. With concentrated evil in it, 16 milligrams, which is 7% of your daily recommended value of concentrated evil, apparently. Oomph soda. Oomph soda. This is the front of the Oomph soda bottle. Oh, looks like a ladybug buzzing around. We won't attack a ladybug either. That's another good friend. Ooh, this one's on the watermelon. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't splatter their guts. I'll let that one live. It's probably grosser to have dead fly smashed onto your food than to have seen a fly land on your food and then fly away. Pizza order here, $134.99. Let's see what made up this order. 3 large pepperonis, 2 large supremes, 2 large cheese, 2 large meat lovers, 2 large white pizzas, 2 large mushroom, 2 large BBQ chicken, 2 large Hawaiian, 8, 10, 12, 15 pizzas for $135. That's not too bad. That's a reasonable price for 15 large pizzas. I would take that today if I had to have 15 pizzas for some reason. I would find that a fair price. You have the grill over here with a can on it. I guess a can of beans here, baked beans maybe. Nutrition facts. Serving size 1 beans. Serving size 1 beans. 30,000 calories. Okay. 0 of which is from fat. Well, that's a lot of calories for a can of beans. Walk past the grill here with this bun just getting absolutely cooked. A lot of crushed cans. Here we have some can holders, little cup holder slots on this table. Oh, and here's that chocolate cake from earlier. Looks pretty good. I would give that a try. I think that's most of this map. We can walk through here. Big balloons up there. This looks like a pool noodle. A pool noodle. The cooler over here. Chock full of Fat City beers. Nice, refreshing, cooling ice. The cupcakes, more colorful cupcakes. And let's see what we have over here. have a Dr. Monty's cream soda. That is a reference to the Zombies mode, where there's a character named Dr. Monty. Dr. Monty, who is played by... Oh wait, the supple taste of a Metro brew is not unlike a subtle shrew. In the morn or in the nigh, this beautiful taste makes angels cry. Something new, unbind the cap, a chorus sings, to the glory the pigeon break. Kia, I don't know what that means. What word that could be. Contains malted barley. Malted barley. Over here we have another beer. 16 milligrams of lethargy, 15 milligrams of fat, 15 grams of nut sugar, and 4 grams of pigeons. 4 grams of pigeons. How do you get a pigeon in a beer? How do you think you go about brewing that in there? Hey everybody, I had to go take care of some stuff for a minute there. If I recall correctly, I was talking about zombies, I think. Who knows? Anyway, yeah, so this is the picnic table. What just fell off my desk? Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Anyway, this is our last map for the day, and it is called Splash. A recently abandoned water park resort located in the southeast United States. Beware the Kraken. Hydro Paradise is the water park here. Hydro Paradise. This looks like this might be in Florida. Going off of the prevalence of palm trees around here, and the fact that the description said that it was located in the southeast United States. School Bay tickets. Admission rates, park hours 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Adults $15, 20, 40. Children are cheaper. And once you get your ticket, of course, you can come inside California Water Park. What? That doesn't make sense. This is not in California. And also, I thought this had a different name. Anyway. Water park rules. No running, no chewing gum, no hanging or sitting on rope, no profanity, no floats in people, no food or drink allowed around pools. No diving in shallow water. No talking to lifeguards on duty. No standing or playing in front of slide in big pool. No little swimmers or divers in big pool, slide or adult pool. Obey lifeguards. And here we have the Kraken. The Kraken, which is all wrapped around this ship here. Kraken's Revenge. Kraken's Revenge. Kraken, Kraken, Kraken. caution when entering and exiting the pool. Of course, obey lifeguards and park rules at all times. Here we have a map of the park here. Let's see if we can orient ourselves. Okay, that's the entrance over there. Because that is the Kraken, the Coconut Kraken. Dead Man Cove, Atlantis Riptide, Market Street. Market Street. Whole beach area out here by Skull Bay. Attraction, Splash Pad, Dead Man Cove, Skull Bay, Atlantis Riptide, Market Street. First aid, locker room, restrooms. So once you have put away your valuables in your locker, you can come out here. We are greeted by this little splash pad area. Monkey head. Armless monkey. Who took away that monkey's arms? These whimsical maps. Not so much this one. But like Micro, for instance, where, you're on a massive picnic table, or rather, a normal-sized BBQ table, and you are all shrunken. Let's go into Skull Bay. I think, just a sign of the increasing triviality of Call of Duty at this time, which I say without judgment. I personally don't like where Call of Duty has gone, tonally, but more so honestly because of the microtransactions, and it's just clearly another way to extract as much money out of its customer base as possible. Greed has destroyed much of what made AAA gaming good, as it has in so many other fields of technology. I think I might have talked about this in the past, I don't know, but my problem with, the skins in Call of Duty and stuff is, first off, it's obviously, just a very greed-focused choice. It's something, they're just making decisions to get as much money as possible. But their businesses, that's what they're here for. That's their whole point, right? So, I don't know, it's like expecting a monkey not to climb a tree. But what really bothers me is that in the old days, before these microtransactions became the law of the land, there would often be challenges where completing a challenge in-game, some difficult task, would award you with a unique cosmetic, a particular skin, or in the case of Call of Duty, a camo or a calling card or whatever it might be. And those used to be a matter of pride, and they were a trophy that you could display that would both make you look cool if you liked the design of the particular cosmetic, but would also sort of show off to other players how good you were, you know. If you had gold camo, and I think Call of Duty probably still does this. I haven't kept up with the multiplayers really, but I imagine stuff like gold camo and diamond camo and stuff is all still locked behind weapon masteries. But prison escape. But that's really the exception in the modern era, right? It is not common for games to have cosmetics, skins that are achievable through difficult challenges, and or at least there is a very small amount of them in comparison to the amount of stuff that you can just buy. And even in, a case like battle passes, you still have to buy the battle pass, and there's an exploitative nature to that as well, because the whole point of battle passes, of course, is to heighten a sense of FOMO, right? It's preying upon certain psychological tendencies in the human mind. So first off, in many cases, they are limited time only battle passes, right? You have to complete it in a certain time, and if you don't, it will be gone forever. I don't know how common that still is. I know in like Halo Infinite, I think, and I think maybe in other places you can, and like this little duck floaty here, in comparison to all the giant rafts, that one is so small. I don't know if this is happening everywhere, but I believe in Halo Infinite you can just like buy old battle passes now and work your way through them at your own pace. I haven't played that game in a couple of years, so I wouldn't know. But if that's the case, I guess that alleviates it a little bit, but of course the traditional battle pass model, and again, I don't really play many live servicing type games where these things are used these days, so I don't know how it all works, but traditionally, when I did used to play, Fortnite and whatever, you would have a battle pass stick around for a limited time, and you would have to complete the battle pass within that allotted time, or else you would permanently miss out on the benefits, the potential rewards from that battle pass. And so, right off the bat, you have that FOMO attitude. You are playing into people's fears that they are going to miss out on the limited edition thing. And of course, people don't want to miss out on something forever. And this affects different people, to a greater or lesser degree, but if you tell somebody, hey, do you want this, I don't know, this collectible Beanie Baby or something, the person might say, no, I don't like Beanie Babies, I don't want that. But then if you say, would you like this limited edition collectible Beanie Baby, suddenly there's like, oh man, but if I don't get the Beanie Baby now, I'm never gonna have the chance to get the Beanie Baby later. And what if it gains value over time because it's a limited edition? Then it's a good investment opportunity. Warning, always use provided plastic baggies for augmented limbs. So, you get that trick going with the Battle Pass where people are worried about missing out on a limited time offer, basically. And then, once you do get somebody to buy the Battle Pass, if you convince somebody to do that, well, now you have another hook in them, because there's, I don't know, the sunk cost thing going on, right? Where they think, okay, I bought the Battle Pass. I have now invested my resources into the Battle Pass. Because I have already put something into this, I have to now make sure that I squeeze every bit of value out of it, right? I have to get to rank 100 on the Battle Pass. And so, you now have this person psychologically primed to want to play the game a lot more, right? I have to get to rank 100 before the Battle Pass ends, before I run out of time. And so to do that, I need to play a lot of Fortnite, or Call of Duty, or whatever it is. And that's obviously good for you, The more players is good, but also, the more that somebody plays, the more chances that you have to put a microtransaction in front of them that they're going to really want. Somebody might not buy 50 skins in a row that pop up in the Call of Duty shop, but maybe that 51st skin that your developers release is just the right thing, where that person is like, oh man, that's so cool, I really want to buy that skin. So anyway, there's a lot of these tricks that modern gaming uses to entrap you. Of course, there's loot boxes, pack opening stuff, gacha games and gacha mechanics, and it's all just, it's just very distasteful to me. It's unfortunate. But it is what it is. That is modern gaming for sure. It's the modern AAA landscape anyways. But I've largely disengaged from that side of the gaming world. I don't tend to spend much of my time playing live service games. I can't really think of the last one. I fell off Fortnite a long time ago. I kept up with Halo Infinite for a little bit, but not too long. I don't really play Call of Duty much anymore. Even when I did play those things, I very rarely spent money. I didn't never spend money. I think I bought like 2 skins in Fortnite. I definitely bought 1. I bought that big pink teddy bear outfit that I thought was very funny. But I'm not sure I bought any of the others. So I might have purchased a couple things in these live service games, but it's not as though I was, in a funny way, you could actually see a lot of these changes as good for a guy like me, in the sense of money, right? Because with the rise of live service games, what this often means is that games become free to play, and of course they rely on people spending money in the game to make up for the fact that they're not charging people to buy the game. And so for a guy like me, I have probably saved money because of how rarely I have purchased microtransactions, versus if I had to have purchased those games outright. And so in a funny way you could say, oh, well, this is good for you. You know, you've actually saved money. But I don't think it really, I would rather spend money up front for a good game that is designed to be as fun as possible and not to take advantage of people and squeeze as much money out of them as can be squeezed, than live in a world where I'm playing free games. And that's kind of an interesting stained glass piece. Looks sort of like game controller reminiscent. It had like a D-pad on it and stuff. Anyway, yada yada yada. Just a guy complaining about the modern gaming landscape. What a unique and interesting opinion, right? Anyway, so I will stop yapping about that. I think most of you are probably in agreement with all that stuff anyways. There's not too many people who are like, yeah, we live in the golden age of gaming right now. Well, I will say indie games are probably stronger than they've ever been. That, field, I mean, maybe that's not the right way of putting it, because at the same time, it's probably harder than ever as an indie game to break through. But for the consumer, we have so many incredible options all the time. But I do think AAA gaming is kind of dead these days. There's a few reliable developers, Rockstar, but they release a game every 15 years, so it's a little bit of an exaggeration. Anyway, that's the end of our little map exploration here. I pretty much didn't comment on this map. I just started ranting about video game economies, so my apologies for not pointing out, oh, that's a pair of red flip-flops. Oh, that's a blue striped umbrella. Right, well, thank you so much for joining me today. And I will see you for whatever we get up to next time. Until then, please take care of yourselves, and I will do the same. Goodbye. Goodbye.